Hello, this is the Jefferson Morgan Middle High School virtual move-up day for our 7th grade students for the 2020-2021 school year. My name is Brandon Robinson. I'm the middle high school principal. Typically, this time of year, we would have our 7th graders come over for a move-up day. With everything that's going on, we decided to have a virtual move-up day this year to make sure students and their families knew what Jefferson Morgan Middle High School has to offer. This is our table of contents. I will share the presentation with you so you can go to any of our areas, but this is what we will go over today. We're going to start with just kind of an overview. Like I said, I'm Brandon Robinson, the high school principal. You're also going to meet today virtually Mr. Wesley Loring. He's our assistant principal and director of special education, and then Mrs. Katie Harold, who is our guidance counselor. Like I said before, this is our administration here at Jefferson Morgan Middle High School. I'm Brandon Robinson, the high school principal. I've been with the district in many different capacities over 12 years. I started off actually student teaching here at Jefferson Morgan in 2009. I taught 6th grade. I was the assistant principal, and now I'm the middle high school principal. I live in Washington, Pennsylvania currently. With my wife and my son. He is now a year and a half. His name is Kyler. And then Mr. Loring, he's been with us now. He's going on his 3rd year, formerly a teacher at Southeastern Green School District. And I know that he and his wife live in the area. They live in the school district, and he spends a lot of time with his daughter, Evie. Our guidance counselor, Mrs. Katie Harold, she is returning to us this week, actually. She's on maternity leave. She has 2 children, and her husband works at McGuffey. She's available. She's here coming back for a couple days in the summer, and then she'll be back for maternity leave starting next school year. Our middle high school secretary, Mrs. Patty York, she runs our building. I always say that. She's a very important part of our district. She's the smiling face that you see every day. Her phone number and email is listed, but that's the first person you see in our high school office. And then Mrs. Ferrari is our copy clerk. She also works at the elementary school. Mr. Moore, our athletic director, who's been our athletic director for a while now, does an excellent job, very organized. He also teaches English for us for high school. He teaches English 9. He's the athletic director for our district, and he has athletic director periods built into his schedule, period 6, 7, 8. His email's there, as well as we'll get you his extension as well. Our school district police officer, Officer Shuba, the kids should be familiar with him. He's also the district police officer at the elementary school. Our middle high school attendance monitor is Mr. Lohr. He does, and we'll talk more about attendance later, he does all of our attendance monitoring to make sure students are coming to school. Just to give you a couple tidbits about the middle school, we have about 115 students in 7th and 8th grade for next year. We have 240 students in 9 through 12. There's very little interaction between the high school students and the middle school students. When you get to come see the school actually in person, the bottom floor is for basically the middle school, and the top floor is for the high school. We employ well over 30 certified teachers and numerous support staff. We're very proud of our computer engineering and science, the computer science programs. Your 7th and 8th grade year, you will have computer science electives. So as a 7th grader, you will have computer science 7. In an 8th grade, you'll have computer science 8. In 8th grade, you have a class called automation and robotics. It's an engineering elective that Mrs. Boyle teaches. We also offer Spanish in levels 1 through 5. Your 7th grade child and 7th graders, you'll have an exploring Spanish elective. We have 8 middle school sports that we're proud of, and we have numerous opportunities for students to access technology throughout the building. For safety and security, building rules and district policies and procedures we have in place to keep our students safe. We do teach situational awareness with ALICE certified teachers. We have different teachers have hall duties and supervision assignments throughout the building. We do have cameras throughout the entire building as well. Obviously, you already met our district police officer. Officer Brian Shuba does a great job of connecting with our students. And most importantly, we have a caring faculty and staff, principals, counselors, student assistance programs, teachers, custodians, cafeteria workers. Our big thing is to make sure that we connect with all of our students. In 7th grade, Students must earn at least a 5.5 credits to move on to 8th grade. Our core subjects are ELA 7, that's a double block, 80-minute period, similar to 6th grade. And then Math 7, which is a double block, 80-minute period, similar to 6th grade. And then you have 2 separate classes for World History 7 and Science 7. Those are your core subjects. Our daily bell schedule, as you can see here, we have what's called a flex period in the morning. So that's for 29 minutes. That's for students to see teachers for help, to get their assignments done. That's every single day unless you have a 2-hour delay. And then students do eat lunch only with 7th and 8th graders during the B lunch period. We have 8 periods of the day. And then at the end of the day at 2:47, the bell rings and students go to their bus. This is what a typical 7th grade schedule looks like. You have your 3 electives in the morning, first period. So those are trimesters. They're 12 weeks long. So this student would have chorus because they chose chorus. The second period is World History 7. Third period, Science 7. Their 5th period, this student has 4th and 5th period Honors Math 7, ELA 7, and then they have another set of electives. You can see here the room numbers are all listed here. We meet Monday through Friday each week for every class, and then the teachers' names are right here as well. Now you're going to get to meet each one of your 7th grade teachers, and our core teachers that you're going to see daily also have an introduction video for you. So first up is Mrs. Boyle, and she teaches 7th and 8th grade science and engineering. So here's Mrs. Boyle's video for you.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Boyle, and I'll be your 7th grade life science teacher. And just a couple of words of advice is try to use your time wisely and be organized, and most of all, be kind.
Your next teacher is Mrs. Rogers. She'll be teaching your 7th grade ELA course. She also teaches an 8th grade Family Consumer Science elective. So here is a video from Mrs. Rogers.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Rogers. I'm going to be teaching 7th grade English next year. I would like to first take a minute to introduce myself. I have 2 children of my own. They're both in college. I like animals. I have a little farmette with a pony and a goat and a dog and a cat and some guinea hens, and I'm a big animal lover. I like spending time outside. I like canoeing, traveling, hiking, biking. I also like reading. I like a good story. I like writing. So I'm really looking forward to teaching 7th grade English next year, and I'm looking forward to meeting you. Advice that I would give to someone coming over to middle school, I would say don't be nervous, because I read a lot of kids' papers, and one thing that comes across all the time is that even though kids really liked elementary school, they like middle school more. They like the freedom. There's a little bit more independence. And even though you do have to work, it's fun work, and you're learning interesting things. Another thing that they say is that they like our teachers. Our teachers really like middle school students, and they're really enthusiastic about what they teach. So I think that we have some really good teachers, and there's just nothing to be nervous about. I think that you will really, really like middle school. So I would like to say good luck to you, and I look forward to meeting you in the fall.
So that was Mrs. Rogers. She's going to be your 7th grade ELA teacher next year. Your next teacher is Mrs. Tiffany Throckmorton. She teaches 7th grade mathematics and an 8th grade algebra class as well. So here is Mrs. Throckmorton's message to our 7th graders.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Throckmorton, and I will be your 7th grade math teacher next year. I wanted you to be able to put a face with a name just in case we can't meet each other at the beginning of the year, but hopefully that's not the case. I hope you have a great summer, and I look forward to meeting you.
That was Mrs. Throckmorton, and she will be your 7th grade mathematics teacher. The next teacher is Mr. Rob Ardino. He is your 7th and 8th grade social studies teacher, and here's a message from Mr. Ardino.
Hi, my name is Mr. Ardino. I teach World History 7 and 8, as well as Geography 7, also known as Geography Connects. This is the book we'll be using this fall, World History. In this book, there are 23 chapters. In 7th grade, we'll only cover chapters 1 through 11. Chapter 1 is called Uncovering Past, and we'll go all the way up through chapter 11, which is Rome and Christianity. I've been at Jefferson Morgan now for 15 years. I substitute taught there 2 years prior to being hired full-time in 2005. I graduated in 1991 from Trinity High School and Waynesburg College, now university, in 1998. I enjoy the outdoors. I love to hunt and fish. I pursue the white-tailed deer as well as the wild turkey, and I love to trout fish. I hope each and every one of you are staying safe, and I look forward to seeing you this fall. Thank you.
And that was Mr. Ordino. He's your 7th and 8th grade social studies teacher. Mrs. Schrader, she's an 8th grade mathematics teacher, but she's also going to be your 7th grade computer science teacher. So we had her do a video as well. So here's her, Mrs. Schrader.
Hello and welcome JM class of 2026 to the middle high school. I am Mrs. Schrader. I teach 8th grade math and 7th grade coding, and I absolutely love what I teach. We do lots of different fun things in the class, and I'm sure you're going to love it too. My one piece of advice for you is to make sure you check your Google Classroom. Here you will find everything you need for my classes. If you stay on top of your Google Classroom, you will have great success in middle school. Can't wait to meet you all in the fall. Bye.
That was Mrs. Schrader. She teaches 8th grade math, but she also will be your 7th grade computer science teacher. Mr. Lohr, he is an 8th grade ELA teacher, but he wanted to do a video as well. You might not have him as your teacher next year, but you will see him around as your attendance monitor and being part of the middle school team. So here's a video from Mr. Lohr.
Hello, incoming 7th graders. I'm Mr. Lohr. I teach 8th grade English language arts. You won't have me next year, but you will the year after. However, with that said, anything you need, please don't be afraid to come up and ask. We're a pretty tight-knit group in the middle school between 7th and 8th grade. We're here to help you. Despite what other teachers may have told you in the past, we are not unapproachable. We're pretty easy to talk to. We're there to help. We want what's best for you. With that said, our expectations in our building are very high. We do expect a lot from you as middle school students. You're coming into a very unique situation. You're going right from an elementary school where, to be honest, some of you were ready to leave this past year or the year before. And you're coming into a high school. You're coming into a whole different building with higher expectations. But it is a learning process. We'll help you every step of the way, promise. If you see me in the hall, say hi, introduce yourselves. This is the first year I'm not going to have 7th graders, which is unfortunate. But make a good first impression. Come up and talk to me. And if you ever need anything, please ask. Enjoy your summer, read books, help your parents out, do chores, go outside and play, put down the video games. I'll see everybody in August. Take care.
That's Mr. Lohr. Like he said, you won't have him next year, but he is part of the middle school team. The rest of your teachers are elective teachers. I just want to make sure you have a face to a name. So this is Mrs. McCrory. She'll be teaching you for your Exploring Spanish elective. This is Mrs. Folks. I included her because she's a very important part of Jefferson Morgan. Not only is she a student council sponsor, she teaches high school computer science and technology, but she helps anybody at any time, and she plans a lot of our events. So it's an important person that you get to know. Mrs. Gratchik, she teaches English 10, but she's going to teach you an elective, the Intro to Lit and Film. She's a very passionate teacher, and she does a great job. You'll love Mrs. Gratchik. Mrs. Svensson, if you're in the band or you take a music or chorus class, you'll have Mrs. Svensson. Mr. Cochran, he's going to be doing some different things for us next year. He's going to be the one checking your books out of the library, which is getting renovated. It's going to be called the Learning Commons. He'll do that during our flex period, during first period, and during fifth period. But when he's not doing that, he's the high school history teacher. He teaches American History 1 and American Government. Mr. D'Antonio, he's a 7th and 8th grade learning support teacher, and he also teaches 7th through 12 ELA support. Mrs. McCombie is the 9th and 10th grade learning support teacher, but she teaches 7th through 12th math support. Mrs. Ardino is the 11th and 12th grade learning support teacher, but she teaches 7th through 12th science and social studies support for learning support students. And Mrs. Cochran, she does the 7th through 12 life skills and autistic support classes in the middle high school. Just want to talk to you about your extracurricular opportunities. There's all kinds of things to get involved in, and we want you involved in something. Just a short list, and we'll go over more of these whenever we have an in-person, hopefully, orientation. But there's student council, principals council, band, chorus, drama club, sports, cheerleading, art club, the National Junior Honor Society, academic team. Those are all available. We want you to be involved. For any community information, any communications, we make sure that your email's up to date. I send a lot of email blasts on updates that are going on in our building, as well as any delays or cancellations. School messengers, that system, email alerts, daily attendance. Please keep your phone number up to date. Our school calendar's on our website. MMS is our student data portal for check grades. Google Classroom is part of our curriculum and part of where we put all of our information, but it's even more important now with right now what we're doing distance learning, that you get involved with Google Classroom. And then our school website has a lot of information under students, parents, academics. And then something that's really important, I believe, is to see the different things going on in the school, to follow our social media pages. We have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just going to go over some of these things briefly. Like I said, we'll go over it more in depth whenever we have orientation. The number one thing for a successful student is attendance. If you're not here, we cannot instruct you. Make sure excuses are turned in when you're not here. This chart is something I like to share because if you only miss a day every 2 weeks, you're still missing 20 days per year, which is 4 weeks per year, which is nearly 1.5 years of schooling over your 13 years. The same thing goes for being late to school. Every day counts. These are just our attendance procedures about discipline for illegal absences. I'm not going to go in depth with them because it's something more that I share at orientation. But this is available for you to look at on the presentation. Rules and expectations. Once again, it's something that I'm going to briefly go over. I'm going to go over in depth when we have orientation. But rules and procedures equal, a great learning environment. Everyone can review the student handbook on our website. Rules are reviewed with students in homeroom over the first few days, and I also have grade level meetings with students. All discipline is handled by myself or Mr. Loring. Discipline referrals are mailed or emailed home for minor offenses like tardies or minor classroom disruptions. But any discipline referral that results in any form of suspension, the parent guardian will be notified via the phone and email to get a hold of you. I just put some of the most common offenses in middle school. Cell phones, they're not to be out in class. They are allowed to have them out when they're in the cafeteria. Tardies to class. We don't really count tardies to class the first quarter because we want students to get used to coming to class. But after 3 tardies, you would get a discipline referral. Minor classroom disruptions, and a big thing is social media. Even if you do something outside of school, if it becomes an issue in school, it is a Jefferson Morgan issue. That is our school policy. So social media is a very common offense. Like I said, these are some of the rules and expectations that we'll go more in the depth over during an orientation, but they're there for you to review on the PowerPoint that isn't the video. So I'm going to go through those. Number one thing I want to talk about is my reasonable request rule. We believe that if we ask you to do something that's reasonable, that you do it. So I always give the example, if a teacher asks you to please pick up something off the floor that's yours, you're expected to do it. If they ask you to jump out a window, that's not reasonable. So if you don't follow this reasonable request rule, there is a discipline referral, but it's our general rule that covers everything. These are our possible disciplinary assignments. Lowest level is lunch attention. Yes, you still get to eat. You take your lunch to a room with a teacher and you sit quietly and eat lunch by yourself. It's our lunch detention. It's our most commonly used discipline action. We have after school detention, which lasts after school. It's actually 2:47 to 3:40. We do have Saturday detentions. That's more severe. Out of school suspensions. I'm more of a fan of in-school suspensions. If your child does something wrong, we will try in-school suspension first, unless I am forced by our handbook to put you out of school. Then there's citations with the district magistrate, social probation, meaning you cannot do anything other than come to school, no sports or activities. And if none of that works, unfortunately, we look at alternative educational placements for a 45-day minimum. But that's something we'll go over more at orientation. We do utilize what's called an e-hall pass right now. So students can either sign out at the high school when they're allowed to use their phones. They sign out on their cell phone as they pass. But there's a computer set up in each room where the teacher can have you do a hall pass. It's electronic. We can see at all times who's out in the hallway. I like that for safety reasons, but I also like that when I have a meeting with a parent or a student. Why are their grades slipping? And I look and they're going 5 minutes to the bathroom every day, or they're taking 14 bathroom breaks a day. So we talk about that to be able to reduce that number. We do have Mrs. Kern as our nurse, just like at the elementary school. Students in 7th grade must have 2 booster shots. Okay, they have to have a Tdap and an MCV. All that information is listed here in school vaccinations. Same rules apply for medication at the elementary school as at the high school. All medications, including over-the-counter, must include a doctor's note and must be kept in school. Students can't keep their own medication. Tips to help reduce the adolescent drama or in middle school: limit or monitor social media. So I always say for parents to monitor the social media and what they're posting. Once you post it, it's out there. Even if you delete it 30 seconds later, it's out there. That's why I always say don't press send. When you're angry, don't press send. As parents, supervise activities. Know where your child's going, know who they're with. We try to stick to the no dating. Right now, they're just not old enough at that point for dating, and we do not allow for public display of affection. Consistency. Having a consistent schedule is important, whether that be you come to school, you go home, you eat a snack, you go to practice, and then you do your homework at the same time. Consistency is important. And just to separate yourself from reality TV and that type of drama, we always say. Biggest thing is, don't get looped into social media. And if there's an issue, come see a principal or the guidance counselor or a teacher that you trust. These are some questions that are typically asked at an orientation or a move-up day that I tried to answer. And if anybody has any questions that aren't answered today, please email me. We can schedule a call, a video chat, anything that you need. Lockers, our current locks on our lockers are just for decoration. They actually don't work. You may purchase your own lock, but it must keep the locker combination or key with your homeroom teacher. That's in case you forget or you need help. If you purchase a lock, we suggest you do it now to practice over the summer. So a big thing is if you can't get your lock off, we have to cut it off. And anything that's in the locker is the school's possessions as well. So we have to be able to get into that locker. For phys ed, you do have to change, but there's no gym a uniform, but you have to have appropriate gym attire such as shoes. 7th grade lunch every day is 11:35 to 12:05. 7th graders eat first on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then 8th graders eat Monday, Wednesday, Friday first. We rotate that, but they only eat with 7th and 8th grade students. Student supplies, we suggest that each student have this type of scientific calculator, but the elementary PTO does a great job. Every year, they purchase the calculator and give it to each 6th grade student for the next year. The majority of the supplies that you're going to need for middle school will provide for you. Backpacks, students may have their backpacks in their lockers in 7th and 8th grade. Once they're at school, they have to be in the locker. They're not permitted to be carried from class to class in 7th and 8th grade. It's just an organizational thing. I'm going to pick on the boys. We typically shove everything we own in our backpacks, and then we get to a class and we pull everything out. But in high school, we do allow you to carry your backpacks. But you get 3 minutes between each class. That's plenty of time to get from one place to the other. I just want to thank you, for taking time to hopefully watch this video. And we look forward to having you. It is very difficult for me. I like to stop over during the fourth quarter to always check in on our 6th graders to welcome them. It is a big transition, but I am here to help you. If you would like to schedule an individual school tour, please contact me. If you would like any questions answered, I do not want anybody to feel nervous about coming in. We're very proud of our school. We're very proud of what we have to offer. We talk about JM Pride. We want you to wear your JM colors. We want you to be proud of where you go to school. And I look forward to meeting each one of you. I hope that we can have an in-person orientation. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out, and have a great summer.